A lot of entrepreneurs hit a ceiling at some point in their lives. And this is not because their business isn't good or, looking very profitable, but because they stop learning. They get too busy running the day-to-day and they forget that actually staying ahead means staying informed. Staying informed about many things, about your business, about your competition, about the market, about your customers. What do the best entrepreneurs do? They never stop being students. Let me show you how to learn without slowing down on your business. My name is busier. I'm a partner at Sahel Capital and I'm the author of Scaling for Success, Empowering African SMEs. Like I laid out very clearly, there are many things about entrepreneurs that they get busy with, that they forget the simple process of learning. And now the question is, why do entrepreneurs stop learning? Because until we understand what that problem is or why it happens, we probably will not even be able to identify that problem actually does exist. And I think there's just one underlying factor, really. It's a simple mindset shift. Very early on, most entrepreneurs actually are hungry for knowledge. They consume every material. They speak with everybody that they can speak to about their business. They try to understand what is going on, and they begin to get a frame, and eventually they start a business and they start running and they start making some income. They start gaining traction. But the reality is that many of them get caught up in operations, and understandably so as well. I mean, when you're playing the role of multiple people, because anyone, as an entrepreneur, you're the chief sales officer, you're the chief marketing officer, you're the HR manager. Eventually you start onboarding people to join you, but even at that, you're so deep in your operations that it becomes so difficult to learn, to go out and to gather knowledge. And that is the major reason why entrepreneurs actually stop learning. There's a book I'm reading currently called Shoe Dog. It's written by Phil Knight. He's the founder of Nike. And one of the things he talked about in the book, he described a particular CD player shop owner that he used to go there to buy CD players many years ago. He said the CD player, the shop owner actually told him once that it will always be in business because people will always want music. And he's right. I mean, the love of music has probably even gone way beyond it was in those days. But what he forgot at that point, or what he was forgetting, is that even though people will always want music, they did not want to always come to a physical store to buy the music, or stay on the long queue, or have multiple CDs, packed. They are stacked up somewhere in the corner of their room where somebody can come and pick it up and it's lost. The reality is that shop today is currently out of business. And that's the place of stopping to learn what exactly is changing. It's one thing to know what is changing, is another thing to be able to react and respond to it, and that's a different topic completely. But at the minimum, there has to be a knowledge and an understanding of what is happening in the market around you. There is a popular story of Sam Walton. Many of you might know him. He's the founder of Walmart. Before his death, he was the richest man in the world. And there was a time he traveled to visit some of his friends in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And he said that one of the things that happened was when he went to visit his friends, one of those days, he just said he wanted to go out for a stroll. And lo and behold, the friends got a call and they said that Sam Walton was arrested. When they went to bail him out, guess what? They found him in one of these stores in Sao Paulo on his knees with a measuring tape, measuring the distance between aisles, just to understand, okay, how this guy's doing what they do. Now, I'm by no means saying you should go get arrested, or do something that is weird, but I'm saying that you can see the mindset of very successful people and the kind of hunger they had for learning, knowing what exactly is happening out there in the market where they run or where they function. It just tells you how critical it is to stay on the path of learning. The reality is that there's a cost to not learning. For example, there are always market shifts. Whether you like it or not, things will move. We're looking at the transition now into the world of AI, where AI is actually displacing a lot of roles and is becoming a tool that almost makes it's creating a leveler in which many people can learn. But that's not the only advancement you'll see. We've seen advancements over the years. I talked earlier about how music has gone from CD players into something you can just throw into your pocket and carry with you everywhere. You don't even need to save it now. You connect on the cloud and you listen to the songs. So there's always a shift, there's always an advancement, and you need to stay ahead of that curve to know what is happening. There are new competitors all the time that are coming into the market. They might not be doing exactly what you're doing, but they might be doing something that is close enough to what you're doing. There are new potential collaborators or partners that are coming into the market that you need to be aware of, that you can partner with, and that will create a leverage for your business. So this shift in the market makes it unbelievably important for you to stay on that learning curve. Something else that happens is the customers' need, they actually evolve. Whether it's the buying behavior, I talked about the music consumption. Somebody was talking earlier today about Google Maps. Many years ago, before Google Maps, you all know, when we were alive, at that point, and you were driving or you could go about, you carry the physical maps, mark them, on the routes. And today, you can't probably recall how that world felt like before Google Maps. But Google Maps has come to help to replace the need for a map. So the customer needs evolved from needing a physical map. When that technology became available, now they've moved on to using Google Maps. But even at the point at which they're using Google Maps, you still see a lot of people trying to make that process a lot more efficient, more informational, more interactive. So the experience keeps getting better. So you just don't stop at that point and saying that I have Google Maps and therefore I think I've conquered the world. Things are changing, the needs are evolving. One example I used to talk about is L&Z, the yogurt company I wrote about in my book. There was a time in which they used to sell the physical yogurts, the yogurt product in a plastic bottle, and we believed so much then when we with those yogurt products that the L&Z yogurt was one of the best in the market and that people will love it, and rightfully so, because the quality of the product, and this is not me to say the honest, just so good, and it's because they're using good quantity of fresh milk, unlike most other people that just use additives and flavors. They actually use a good quantity of fresh cow milk in the products in making those yogurt products. So the richness of the yogurt is so good. Now we decided at some point to take a pause. Let's do a market research. We contracted a marketing organization. Let them do blind taste and let them tell us. Let us see the result of that exercise. And it was so funny that they did blind taste. Indeed, the product that people selected as one of the best products was L&Z's product. But then they asked them what is the name of the product, and they mentioned the most popular brand in the market. They mentioned other brands. The other thing that came out that shocked us was that while people actually liked the taste of the yogurt, the packaging, the look and the feel was probably it sends a stronger message of quality to them, and as a result they actually go out to pick based on the packaging, and that also sends some messages to us. So it's so important for you to be learning. That's a learning process itself, trying to understand what your customers really want. Have their needs changed? Have they evolved beyond where you used to think they were? Purchasing decisions, have they changed? Motivations, are they changing? Those are some reasons why if you do not learn, there is a cost, there is a downside to not learning. So the reality is that the mindset has to shift. That process of learning has to start, and like I said, it doesn't mean you have to go back to school. There are many ways you can stay informed in a very smart way. One example I like to use are lions. When you say pack of lions feasting on a kill that they made, if you've watched all those animal documentaries, you see that as they are eating, one of them would most likely have the head up, looking around, scouting around, and they continue eating, lift up their head, scout around. And the idea of that is, I don't want while I'm eating to be eaten or to be killed. So the idea is that even as your neck bent in the operational activities you're working on, you don't want to stay alive today to die tomorrow. So you stay long enough to lift up your head, to look at what exactly is happening around me, and then put your head back in the operations of the business. It's a business or survival skill. It's not a nice to have. The problem that you're actually struggling with today as a business might already have a solution that is existing, but you just do not know because you've never lifted up your head long enough to understand what is happening in the environment. I'll give you a good example. One of the things I do to learn. I know that I like to catch up on news, what is happening, but the deluge of news these days is there's just so many things happening around. So what did I do? I leveraged ChatGPT. I gave it an instruction on the type of news I want to come to me. News around macro, news around agriculture, news around Africa. I was very specific, and I said at 9 a.m. every morning I want to receive those news. So every morning I go back there, I say, okay, give me the news, and it just gives me curated content based on what I want to learn, and that already gives me rich information in a very short synthesized way on what I need to be aware of. And I was shocked. The last one yesterday, the news came out that I was shocked. I had to send it to 1 or 2 people, to be aware of that was happening in the hard industry in Africa. So it's quite critical that you keep your head in the learning game. So to start wrapping things up, what are some ways in which you can start staying sharp, without wasting time? One way is microlearning. And microlearning basically is you don't have to go back into classroom to do this. You can take small shots of like 15 minutes podcast when you're going to work. You play a short video that you can listen to, or some audio podcast, or a news article, curated newsletters. These are things you can read on the fly, and these are areas where you can get the information. You just need to be deliberate to have filtered what kind of podcasts, what kind of newsletters, what kind of information I want to get, so that what is coming to you is relevant for your need. Another example is reverse learning. Your employees that go out and come in every day, you'll be shocked how much information and how much they know. And so be curious, ask your employees questions, probe them, push them, let them know that you need them to be able to keep their eyes out in the market, and the information that you will be asking from them. The same thing with your customers. Always be present in the market. Sam Walton, that I talked about earlier, it was said that he spent 80% of his time as a CEO actually out of the office, in the stores, in competitor stores, just trying to know what is happening. So spend your time with customers. Be very aggressive about that. Talk to them, stay with them, spend time in their businesses. Try to understand what they do day in, day out. There's a good friend of mine who I also like to see. I see what he does. The MD of UAC. It's always very interesting when I see him out there in the trade with his employees, always meeting with customers, always seeing what they're doing. And it's probably one of the reasons why you see the business also doing so well, because he's on the ground understanding the needs of the customers as well. The same thing with competition. Competition is not necessarily a bad thing, and I will talk about this in another video. Competition can actually be a good thing if you harness the strength and the opportunity very well. So be out there learning. There are many trades and industry conferences that you can attend, but even if you cannot attend, most of these trades and conferences, they have them recorded. It's on YouTube. You can go there and just listen while you're driving to work, or you are doing something that does not require a lot of mental strength, just for you to carry on and understand what exactly those things are talking about. And the old school method, just reading. I know some of us don't have the habit of reading, but for those who you love reading, and even thinking about it now, when they say some people don't have the habit of reading, what I've realized is that these things are never true. There's somebody who was very close to me who used to say that strongly, that she doesn't have the habit of reading at all. She never used to read. I used to read a lot in those days, but today I can tell you, and that's my wife, she reads ridiculously way more than I do. And so if you seek with the fact many years ago that she said that she doesn't like reading, she doesn't read, and you think that stays the same, it never stays the same. So you can have daily reading habits. You can tell yourself that, look, I will read 1 chapter a day. When I wake up in the morning, I will read 2 pages. Before I go to bed at night, I'll read 2 pages. I just stick to it. Consistency versus quantity. So you're just consistently picking up that knowledge on a day-to-day basis. And lastly, I'll talk about smart networking. Look for people that you like to learn from. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, subscribe to their YouTube channels, and that way the information they are sharing is sifting to you one way or the other, consciously or unconsciously. And let the social media and internet itself do its thing. The algorithm will set itself in such a way that those kind of news and information begins to filter to your way and to your path. So I will summarize by saying that learning as an entrepreneur is crucial for your journey. You need to take that process seriously. You need to understand that it's a business survival skill, and it is not a nice to have. Take all the opportunities that you have around you to pick up learning and to grow your business. Thank you very much. I hope you found this very helpful. If you did, please share with your friends and colleagues, and also subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Thank you very much.